Ekiti State Police Command said it had arraigned a 20-year-old cattle rearer, Mohamadu Bello, before an Ekiti Chief Magistrate's court for allegedly destroying farm produce valued at 3.8 million naira belonging to 4 individuals. The police prosecutor, Inspector Elijah Adejare, told the court on Thursday that the defendants committed the offense on August 10 at Idole, Ekiti. Now, Adejare alleged that the defendant, who is a cattle rearer, maliciously damaged the farm produce valued at 300,000 naira belonging to one Awiye Olushola. The defendant also maliciously damaged the farm produce valued at 2.8 million naira belonging to one Oni Samson. The defendant maliciously damaged farm produce valued at 300,000 naira belonging to one Igbala Jobi Adeyomi. The defendant also maliciously damaged farm produce valued at 400,000 naira belonging to one Akinola Sunday. Now, the offenses committed contravene section 363 of the Criminal Law of Ekiti State 2021. Adejare prayed the court for an adjournment to enable him to study the case file and present his witnesses. The counsel for the defendant, Mr. Adeyemi Egbebi, also urged the court for the same thing and also asked the court to grant the defendants bail. So the court granted the defendant an 800,000 naira bail. Now, looking at this story, this more like explains to us what farmers go through when these cattle come and destroy their farmlands. Imagine the amount that is being mentioned. Farmlands valued at 3 million naira. 2.8 million naira. Those are people's livelihoods.
Sure.
Let's get your thoughts on this story.
You see, I want to say that I'm very much happy hearing that something like this is happening in some part of the country. We have been lamenting on the issue of herdsmen destroying farmland. You know, it baffles me how one would want to destroy another person's investment because you want your own investment to thrive. Is a serious issue that farmers have been facing in this country. And hearing this, to me, is a welcome development, and more should be done. More should be done. Let it not end at the point of granting bail. The matter should be investigated, and then those farmers should be adequately compensated. In fact, not just compensation, the worth of those farm produce should be paid by the destroyers.
You know, one would want to ask these cattle rearers. I would not ask if they are aware because they know what is going on, and obviously they know that that is somebody's farm.
Sure.
But I don't know if they have this ideology of nothing else matters except their cattle. Because why would one boldly and confidently, you need to see the confidence, and then if you confront them, they fight you, some of them, according to reports that we've been getting. If you confront them on your own business, they fight you like this is my father's land.
That's it.
Nigeria is my father's nation or my motherland, so I have the right to take my cattle anywhere, to eat whatever. but then, seeing a case like this is actually one out of so many other cases.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm very much happy hearing this, and I must commend Ekiti State in general for, of course, the Magistrate Court for handling this matter and making it public. You know, farmers are going through a lot. It's a wake-up call for other farmers not to be keeping quiet. There is a law, and then once someone defaults, what the law stipulates should fall on such a one. You know, these herdsmen, at times I wonder if it is as a result of poor orientation or they see themselves as the owners of the country. You leave your state. Of course, we're not trying to promote or introduce some form of discrimination or bias. But for goodness sake, you have a business, you have a locality, you leave your area, you move your business, your investment to another person's area, and you are bold enough to destroy the person's investment thinking that nothing will happen. And I want to tell you for free that if you are not careful enough, if you attack them on the farm, they are ready to do anything humanly possible. Not that some of our farmers, especially in other parts of the country, that they are not, they doesn't have, you know, the mind to attack them. But So farmers from other parts of the country seems to be well civilized, or those engaging in other farm enterprises seem to be civilized, seems to be rational. So when they see some of this thing happen at their farm, they try to report to the relevant authorities, rather than taking laws into their hand. And believe me, farmers are beginning to lament, because some of the reports they make to relevant authorities seems not to be yielding any positive results. So this particular development in Ekiti State is a welcome one, and is a kind of reassuring farmers that indeed the law and the government can as well do something to protect their investment.
When we talk about some of the things we don't do in certain countries, right? For instance, there are some states, even in Nigeria, that were told if you throw things out of the window, like garbage out of the window, you will be apprehended.
Exactly.
In fact, some people said there's some people who are on ground, police vans are everywhere, and they will follow you and flog you. Some reports we get, but what I'm trying to say is there are some states like that.
Sure. So, I've been in one of those states, and I was very much conscious.
Okay.
Few years back, I was very much conscious. It's a matter of discipline.
Okay.
And then the relevant authority maintaining what they have enacted, the policy they have enacted. I always say that it's not about policy. It's about the implementation of those policies.
Exactly where I was going. Because the reason you were conscious when you were in that state is because of the implementation of those, the laws on ground.
Exactly.
Else you would not be that. Maybe you would be, but some Nigerians will not be that conscious.
I don't think I will be that conscious.
You go to other countries. The reason you probably are not doing what you're not supposed to do is because there are laws on ground, and they are active laws on ground that will be implemented.
Active laws.
So it's looking like I can do it and nothing would happen. A lot of them have gone away with it. We've heard stories where we're talking about reporting to the rightful authorities. Just the other day, it was a few days ago, we talked about Delta State. Was it Delta State? Yes, the one that happened where the women, Ondo State, where the women had to come out and protest half naked, according to reports. Why? Because of the same issue. Now, according to them, the reason or the straw that broke the camel's back that made them come out at that time was that a farmer, this same thing happened to a farmer. He reported, and then the herdsman was asked to pay back or something like that. And then before you knew it, they came and killed him. Like the herdsmen went and mobilized themselves and came back. And that's not the first time we're hearing a story like that.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, if there are laws on ground in the nation that this has to be stopped, then you would not see these herdsmen doing it so openly.
Sure.
So what do you think we can do? I know that the president has, deployed 10,000 agro rangers to 19 states plus the FCT. I know about that. But what else do you think can be done to put an end to this menace? This has ripple effects, and we talk about it almost every day.
Yeah. Yes. I can still recall a report. Not a report, a kind of communique that my association released some years back when the issue of ranching, was really heating up in the country. And we released that document advising the federal government, rather than, setting up or allowing these people to, move about, there can be a kind of coordinated system. You partner with the state government to provide a settlement. Farm settlement must be in synergy with the state government. If the state government wants that kind of enterprise to thrive in their state, then you partner with the state government, and not to give a kind of automatic approval to herdsmen to identify a place and then settle within that particular. Such approval, wouldn't have yielded a positive result. So one of the ways to address this issue is the federal government synergizing with the state government. Any state that wants cattle production, any state that wants, herdsmen to operate in their state, there should be a kind of a farmyard. There should be a ranch where these cattle settles. Of course, for goodness sake, Nigeria will have land. We have, expanse of land littered everywhere. So what is it a difficult task for the government to help these farmers harness, a particular system and help them operate effectively. Of course, to even meet international demand, rather than moving cattle from one place to the other and then destroying farmland. So that is one of the area that this issue can be addressed. And then the federal government cannot be everywhere. Even the state government cannot be at the community, at the grassroots where these herdsmen move their cattle around. There should be a law that will empower the community leadership. A very clear, law that will empower the community leadership, once something is done. Once there is a destruction of farmland and all of that, the community leadership should arrest whoever, the herdsmen, arrest them and hand them over to the police. Now, we have heard of issues where, the community leaders, some youth in the community try to go after these herdsmen, and the matter got to security personnel, and they said the community took right into their hands and all of that, all of those kind of issues. So if we want to really address this issue, there should be that kind of power or statement released by the security personnel. Once you see them destroying farmland, mobilize, arrest them, and call their attention.
What about even seeing them moving about with their cows? Let's even start from there. Why does it seem right all of a sudden? If I have dogs in my house, I have like 20 dogs, and I'm moving on the road with my dogs, how am I going to look, and how are people going to look at me? Will I, if I'm passing a police van, will I not be stopped? And I have my dogs arrested?
That's where we find ourselves.
Those are not chickens. Those animals are harmful.
Of course.
Maybe not to the herdsman, but to the society. So you see one small child, or like 3 children, moving about with really big cows. And of course, they cannot completely control them on the road.
At all.
Causing traffic. What we're not even talking about that aspect of this cattle and the herdsmen.
We have been talking about it, but something seems not to be done about it by the relevant authorities. Of course, human beings who must always prefer other solutions or marshal other ways that the issue can be addressed. The issue of loitering, the issue of herdsmen moving about with their cattle is unheard of in a developing country like Nigeria. It's unacceptable. But for how long should we continue lamenting? It's not in our power to stop them. If you want to do that on your own, you will, of course, the law will tell you that you have taken laws into your hands.
Are you saying state governors do not have any form of power at all, or even local government chairmen, or people involved in those communities, community heads? They can't stand up and say, we can't see these people moving about with cows in our community?
You see, this issue goes beyond the point we are looking at it. It has some form of political undertone, believe me. And that is why it seems to be very difficult for the community leadership to really address this issue. As an agriculturist, there was a time in my own area when farmers complained very seriously. Farmers complained very seriously, knowing that I am one of those that advocate for food security and agricultural development and all of that. They came to me, they said, "Love, they look at what we are going through. What should be done? What do we do?" And I tried in my little capacity to see how to synergize with the community leadership and then sensitize, strategically, probably position persons to observe this. And since you cannot stop them from loitering because they didn't just emerge from your community, they came down from somewhere, right? And before they got to your community, they have actually been passing other communities. Good. So now we're not trying to devise a means on how to curtail their excesses. Probably if they get into the community, there should be some form of supervision until they move out of the community. But believe me, what I heard shocked me. And if I should unveil that to you, you'll be shocked. You discover that, some of the community leadership were scared. No. These people, they don't have understanding. We don't want any casualty in this community. They will go back, reinforce, and come back to attack the community. That was the major fear. And that is why we are saying it is not something that the grassroots should do alone. It requires government intervention. It requires government power. And of course, the security agencies must be involved. Because an average farmer in Nigeria does not go out with gun, does not go out with weapon. You understand the point? But we have also heard of issues, stories where some of these herders, they have weapons, they have instruments. Even me, I find it difficult to move about with ordinary machete. in my car. And believe me, if security personnel find that, you have to explain. Even as a farmer, you have to explain. But we have heard of stories, news that has to do with these men going out with weapons. It becomes a serious issue for an average farmer to approach them. So it's really a disturbing issue.
Beyond the community.
It is beyond the community. It's something the government will have to do. And the leaders of this, believe me, the headers are not the one behind the scene. They are not the one doing all of this. They have those that are empowering them. They have those that owns the cows, the cattle. You know, they are the ones, the big boys among them. They are the ones, if you approach security agencies, some of them, okay, we're coming. I still want to commend the Ekiti State. We have had issues where some of these boys were arrested. The way they will be released will be shocking to you. Instead of arraigning them in court, they will just be mysteriously released and you'll be handicapped. They don't have base. They don't have homes. Where will you go and look for them? So once they leave police custody, the matter is gone. The matter is closed. The case is closed. And you bear your loss yourself. So Ekiti State is doing well for proactively handling this matter.
With the description that you have given and the thoughts of some Nigerians concerning the NSCDC that have been deployed, 10,000 agro rangers. Do you see it from the angle of some Nigerians saying that if the army have not completely, eradicated this menace in our society, then why send the NCDC?
Very true. Very true. Even if NCDC has their role to play, and then army shouldn't be deployed to handle issue of insecurity in the farm setting or system, except that particular zone has been declared as a war zone where issue of weapon is beginning to come out, and then so you can now say, okay, let's bring in army to intervene. Otherwise, the NCDC is okay, but my problem with that initiative is the sustainability of that initiative. And 10,000, how many states can 10,000 cover? How many states can 10,000 cover? So if the government really wants to do this, there should be grassroots mobilization. Okay. People should be empowered at the grassroots, just like in the oil sector. Sorry, let me just borrow it from there. There is this kind of community-based personnel that oversees pipeline. You understand that? So the oil sector had to adopt that particular approach. So if Nigeria wants to advance her food production and then ensure food security in Nigeria, that approach, that particular system can be adopted. Get these guards from the grassroots. Their job is to watch the activities.
But you already talked about it being above the community.
Yes, but once there is an empowerment, if the government empowers the community, the grassroots leadership, I believe the government will also provide the facilities needed to do the job. But the community doing it on their own, they may not be comfortable, they may not be free to do what should be done in order to address that particular menace. But once it's coming from the government, the relevant and the required tools will be provided. That's my thought.
When you talk about the solution and you recommend that the government should, provide probably a land for these people are you talking about the federal government doing this in all of the states? Or are you talking about the state governors handling their own cattle and their headers?
Like in some states, they don't have, most of the states in Nigeria do not produce cattle. They don't have headers. The issue of herdsmen.
And these headers not everywhere in Nigeria.
They are everywhere, but they are not state-owned or managed. That's cattle business. From the little information we have, and as an agriculturist, majorly, cattle business in Nigeria is a thing of the north. That business is dominant in the north. So most of these headers you see roaming around across the nation, majority of them, if not all, are northerners. So if we're talking about, the state government providing a land, or if it is not something the state government can handle, it's something that they can handle. But the first question is, are they interested in it? Now, if they are interested in it, then what they need to do is to develop their own. And then, you see, that is one of the major reasons it's difficult to address this particular issue of herdsmen. Because they are operating outside their zone, their locality, where they are originating, where the business idea is emanating from. That is the major challenge. In South-South, the agro-enterprise that thrives here varies from that in the North, the ones in the North. And you see, if there will be any form of intervention program on agro, it will be centered on the ones that is predominant, or the ones that are predominant in that particular location. So the issue of providing land for herders, it will be a partnership business with the those in cattle business and probably the state government where they want to settle. But if you say the state government should do that, I want to tell you that for now, in most of the southern and eastern states of Nigeria, they are not into cattle rearing.
Then the states that are into cattle rearing,
good.
Are they the state governors you are suggesting should do that?
Sure, and that's why I said it's a thing of it's going to be a thing of interest and choice. If a particular state wants to go into that, there is nothing wrong with that state partnering with those already into the business and providing a place for them. So the emphasis is on those states that this business is emanating from, the cattle business. They should be able to provide land. Now, if there is freedom of association and movement, right? In Nigeria, Nigerian constitution permits that. But you also have to watch yourself and what you move about with. Now, if those states do not have what it takes, one of the attracting factor is the greener pasture that we have in the southern part of Nigeria and the eastern part. That's one of the things that is attracting herdsmen to this area. There is nothing wrong with that. Now, it is for the state government, if they are the ones that are sponsoring them, or the ones that owns the cattle, or the owners of the cattle, to partner with those states where they find the raw material needed to grow their business. Partner with the state government. We need 10,000 hectares of land, maybe on lease. It's a business. That's just, we're not saying that the business should stop. There should be an organization. Partner with the state government and then get a suitable land for your cattle business and operate from there. And I also want to throw it to other state government that do not have the business idea. Is something that they should key into. If I happen to be a governor of a state, I wouldn't wait for them to come. I will invite them. This is the information I'm getting. Your business is destroying my own business, my people's business in the state. Now, this is what I'm proposing. If you want to operate in this state, if you're getting the raw material needed for your business in my state, I'm going to provide so and so. Let us run partnership business. As you do this, you pay so and so amount to the state
government. Know that with all of the ideas that people have concerning these people, because of what we hear in the news that they do and what farmers are complaining of, the killing that we have heard over and over again. We've heard talks about bandits, coming out as herdsmen.
Yeah, disguising as herdsmen.
Disguising as herdsmen and then carrying out all of these evil acts. So some state governors, don't you think that's probably the reason they're reluctant to carry out this? Even when we were talking about the open grazing, when we were talking about states getting lands for these people and then some state governors fighting it and saying, not in my state.
Yes, I think that fear is not out of place. But for how long are we going to be scared of that insecurity? I always believe in doing what should be done, doing the right thing, in spite of what it's going to take. Because if you don't do the right thing, the thing you are lamenting over will keep repeating.
All right.
It will keep repeating. So if the state governments are afraid of providing a space for them, have they stopped them from roaming about? That's the question. So it's going to be more profitable and beneficial to the masses if the state government can look into that area, get a space for them, a space that is very far from the residential areas, and monitor their operation.
Wow.
Monitor their operation very seriously, since that fear is there. You monitor their operation, and once they begin to go, contrary to what is being agreed upon, you approach them and then probably revisit the policy or whatever.